Today, our topic is about letting the inner power emerge. There is a divine power, a divine force of power itself that runs through all things in creation. And it manifests through everything in creation in many different ways. There is a place where that divine power permeates your being, our beings, every human being, and merges with that ego nature of the human being. And this divine power wants to live and express and manifest through each and every one of us. Where it meets with our own ego nature is where we have choice, where we have free will, and we also have responsibility for how we engage with the divine power, how we use it, and hopefully we use it for the greater good. In today's meditation and healing circle, we're going to tap into that force of divine power that moves through everything. And we're going to be with that in that place where it merges with us individually and meets our ego nature. And we're going to do some purification around where it meets the ego nature so that we come to that place of how can I be of service for the greater good? How can I best allow this divine power to manifest through me in a way that supports the all that is? So this is, and we're going to just spend some time sitting there witnessing that place and allowing the emergence as we hold that connection and hold that space there. Bring, energy flows where attention goes. So as we bring our attention there, we allow it to emerge, allow it to take up space, allow it to really permeate through the consciousness of your entire body. So as we said, you be it, it be you, and there is no separation between the divine power. I mean, ultimately, we have the greatest satisfaction and contentment in our lives when the divine power moves through us and expresses through us in its pure fashion. But we are human beings, right? So we have an ego nature, and our part of our walking, if you will, that's what we call it in our Sufi path. I know that's kind of a jargon term, but our walking the path of the earth journey is to cleanse the ego, to cleanse ourselves of our misguidance and our confusion about all of the mixed messages and the falsehoods that are presented to us in the world, to align with the truth that we hold and carry inside and allow the divine forces to move through us and live through us in pure fashion as best we can while we're still in human form. Okay, so let's go ahead and come into our circle. Let's come into our circle sitting side by side, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, knee to knee, coming together as one. In the name of the one most merciful, ever compassionate, we call on you. We ask you to send your essence of your pure divine light. Just imagine this pure divine light streaming into the space right in front of you, and bring everything you have to face directly into that light. Your eyes, ears, nose, mouth. Bring everything to face into that light right in front of you. And your throat center, your heart center, your solar plexus, your belly space, your hips, everything just be right in front and facing that pure light, and allow that light to fall on your skin and permeate through your skin and into your tissues. And as you inhale, draw that light in deeper into your body. Let it penetrate through your pores and all the way in, filling your entire being with pure divine light. And the pure divine light is, of course, already inside of you because you exist. So just feel you've got a pillar of light that moves through the crown of your head, through the top of your head. And so if your head is facing up, just bring it down, slight downward tilt so that the very crown is facing up, directly up. And you can imagine a string at the top of your head at that center. and elongating your spine, like lifting your spine, pulling your head up slightly, and allowing your vertical core, that halfway front to back and halfway side to side, that column that moves through the center of your body, allowing that to like form a straight line as your body moves into physical alignment as best it can. And just imagine this pure divine light streaming through the top of your head, or sense it, feel it in whatever way you can perceive it best, and moving through your head space, through your throat space, and this pillar is like halfway side to side, halfway front to back, just moving through the center of your body. And just put your attention like at the crown of your head, and then bring your attention, your focus, to travel down that center line of your body, sensing this pure divine light as it moves through your body. As I said, through your head, through your heart, and through your throat, and through your heart, through your solar plexus, your diaphragm, through your belly space, and through your pelvic floor. And just focus your attention on that center pillar of light. And as you are sitting right in front of this source of light in front of you, as you inhale, draw this light in, like imagine it coming all the way in and through to meet the inner light at the core of your body. And just let light merge with light at the core of your body. And this light runs through your nervous system of your body and through your central channel like electricity. So just feel this light as it moves through your body and into your vertical core like electricity. Running through your body as pure light. Pure light. This is pure divine light. Pure divine light. And pure divine light. And as you inhale, just notice where your energy is, your personal energy. Is it like mine tends to diffuse around the room? Or sometimes if we get into a certain situation where the protective energy comes out, the energy can be in front of us. Our energy can be like in front of our physical body, speaking for us, right? But a little bit disconnected from the core self. Or it can be hiding behind, right? Or shrunken inside. There's a lot of ways that we use our energy, sometimes consciously, sometimes not. So just check in, where is your energy? And take a breath and invite your energy to come into this vertical core, to merge with this core light inside of you. You can use your breath. As you inhale, draw your energy into your vertical core. And as you exhale, drop down and land into your pelvic bowl. Really sit into your seat, into your hips. And as you inhale, again, draw your energy into your vertical core, that pillar of light. As you exhale, drop down, land into your pelvic bowl, and just let your conscious body lean into that vertical core and immerse in that vibration of this pure divine light at the center of your body. And just like a light bulb has a center filament, the electricity runs along that center filament. And as the electricity intensifies, that center filament gets brighter and the light shines farther. But the electricity never leaves that center filament. So bring your electrical self into that vertical core, into that center filament. And as that light shines, it shines through your core. Just let it shine into every cell of your body. And invite every cell of your body to turn to face that light, just as you faced the light at the beginning. And receive that light. Receive that light into every cell. And thank those cells for receiving that light, carrying that light. And let that light purifies and cleanses, and it also illuminates. So as that light moves into every cell carries consciousness. Allow that light. Invite those cells to allow the light to cleanse and purify and illuminate. To cleanse and purify and illuminate. And breathe with that, just allowing the divine forces to bring healing, to bring purification, cleansing, and illumination into the consciousness of every cell, of every fiber of your being, and to illuminate and intensify that core light that runs through you. And again, as you inhale, draw your energy into that vertical core. As you exhale, drop down, land into your pelvic bowl, lean into that core and immerse into that light, and let that light, just like let yourself dissolve into that pure light at the core of your body. Become one with it. It be you, you be it. And there is no separation. And again, let's call on our source in the name of the one most merciful, ever compassionate. We call on you. We ask you to send your essence of your unconditional love. Just imagine, perceive, feel that unconditional love as it streams into the space all around you. Just feel it like a gentle rain, like the gentle rain of mercy that is just showering gently all around you, falling on your skin. And let your body be like a sponge. And imagine your heart, your beautiful heart at the center of your body. Your heart, let your heart be like that sponge and absorb in all of that gentle water of unconditional love and mercy. And let your heart absorb all the way in. And you can use your breath with this one too, and breathe in through your heart center, through that energy center, that subtle energy center at the center of your chest space. If that place is feeling guarded or tight, you can give some thumping. You hear when I'm thumping, hear it in my voice. You can give some thumping to that space. You can give some massage, and you can tap all the way up under your collarbones and your whole chest space, feather down the sides of your neck. Clear all that energy from your throat and upper chest. And a big breath into your diaphragm and into your belly to give some physical motion into that space and get the flow of energy moving through there. And exhale out all the tension and inhale in that pure unconditional love through your heart center, and let that be absorbed into the core of your heart. And let your heart drink. Let your heart drink. If your heart has been thirsty for this connection with love, Which one isn't it? Just let your heart drink and drink and drink from this infinite well of pure love, unconditional love and mercy. What is mercy? Mercy is that which gives us like a reprieve from all of the tension of life, all of the things that pull us away from this love we know inside of our own beings. Mercy is like what relieves us from those forces and allows us to return to the love inside. Yes, now I'm seeing why we need the mercy right now more than ever. Just let that mercy rain like a gentle waterfall into your heart center. Relieve your heart of the tension, of the pressure, of all of the things that pull it off center, that create that tension, those walls, that clutter, that confusion. Just let that mercy seep into, like I said, let it be like the sponge, like a stone in the center of your heart that is like a sponge, and let this mercy rain in there and soften that stone and return you to that immersion in unconditional love. And let your heart drink and drink and drink. Breathe it in to the center of your heart. Exhale, release the tension. Inhale, breathe this love into the center of your heart. And exhale, release the tension. Inhale, breathe this love into the center of your heart and let your entire being as you exhale fall into the center, merging with the pure divine light and unconditional love at the core of your being. In the name of the one most merciful, ever compassionate, we call on you. We ask you to send your essence of your eternal compassion. And this is the universal compassion that surrounds all things, that moves through all things, that is the ocean of living consciousness that we swim in, that we exist in, that we subsist in. And let your entire being rest into that ocean and be held and surrounded by that unconditional compassion. Eternal means that it extends beyond the time-space realm. That's what eternal means. This compassion extends beyond our time-space realm. It is the container of our time-space realm. It is what permeates everything within the time-space realm. The name for compassion in the language of Arabic is, this compassion is Rahman. It comes from the same root as the word for womb, and the Rahman is the womb of our 3D material time-space realm, the womb that holds and contains us. It is the ocean of living consciousness that we live in and subsist in. And let your entire being, filled with pure divine light and unconditional love, held in this ocean of compassion. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be nurtured. Let yourself be cherished and loved. Let yourself be completely, totally accepted, seen, heard, understood, valued, cared for, protected, completely connected with the all that is. And allow yourself to rest into this space and breathe pure divine light, unconditional love, eternal compassion, holding you, encompassing you, loving you, every heartbeat and every breath. Kun fayakun, be and it is. Be and it is. Be and it is. Now, as we bring in or bring our attention to the forces of divine power, there are two divine names that I want to introduce. And the divine names are names for the divine powers, right? They're not different gods. They're names of the divine powers. We talked about the divine power of light, of love, and of compassion. And there is a divine power of power itself. There are two divine names in the Arabic language. That's the language that my teacher spoke, the language that I understand, that is a sacred language. Sacred language means that the sounds that are spoken in the sacred language create a vibration. Vibration creates energy and frequency, right? And the frequency of that vibration resonates at the same frequency of the energy of the thing it names. So when you are speaking something in a sacred language, you are creating with your words and your intention the vibration of then frequency of the energy of the thing that you are speaking of, right? So it's an energy match. So it helps your being. It's like tapping a tuning fork. Your being, like breath of spirit in your body, has the knowledge and the wisdom and intelligence, the intellect of all of the things in creation, the ability to know them and recognize them. And when we call these things consciously and we create this sound, it's like tapping a tuning fork. You know, when you tap one tuning fork and it starts to vibrate and you put it next to another tuning fork, the other tuning fork will also begin to vibrate. So when you speak these names with these frequencies, you're tapping the tuning fork of your own inner core light. And your core light will begin to, that frequency within your core light will begin to vibrate and resonate. So you can bring your attention to it and you can consciously bring some awareness to it and some intention to it and allow it to emerge, right? Today we're going to allow the inner power to emerge. We're going to bring two divine names into this. One of them is Al-Qadr, and Al-Qadr, and that first, the way that it's spelled in the transliteration is the first letter is a Q, and that's like a K sound, but it's a little bit further back in the mouth. So Qadr, Q-A-D-R is how that's pronounced, Qadr. And it's the divine power that moves through all things, everything in existence, everything in creation. And it is an active force of power that moves through and manifests through all things. The second name that we're going to bring in, and if you have a pen and paper, you can write that down, Qadr, Q-A-D-R, Qadr it's the power, it is the capacity, the capability, right? So it's your power, your capacity, your capability of the divine that permeates through you and permeates through all things. The second divine name that we're going to invoke, that we're going to call on, is MuqTadir, right? So it's like M-U-Q. It's kind of like Qadr, but it's M-U-Q. When you have a mu in front of something, that is like embodying the essence of it. So it's more of an embodied force. It's MuqTadir, like tada, but Tadir, right? MuqTadir. So it's a similar name, right? It comes from the same root, but formed a little differently. It means it's when that divine power meets your inner ego nature. And this is what I was speaking about at the beginning. You have the divine force that moves through all things and permeates you. You have that place where it meets with your ego nature, where you have choice and you have responsibility. And when we meet that place with the ego nature, where, you know, the power is the power, the divine force of power is the divine power, right? And just as we invoke the nature of divine power itself, one of the things that we can focus on is releasing all of the false imprints of what power truly is. Because a lot of what we see in the world that looks powerful is really a compensation for a lack of power, right? When we're not connected with the power inside of ourselves, we do a lot of things to try to compensate, overcompensate for what we experience as a lack. And a lot of what we see that calls itself power is really a compensation for a sense of lack. And that's not true power. That's brutality. That is not power. That is not divine power. And I'm going to read from Fauzia's book here in a minute, and that'll help us to get even clearer on this. So we're going to call on that divine power that permeates all things with the intention that we get clarity around what power is and what power isn't. Because power is not something to be feared. That brutality in the misuse of power is something that we fear. That's what brings up the fear and that place where we say, oh, I don't trust power. I don't like power. I don't want that power, right? But the truth is the power is within you, but it's a pure divine power, very different from the compensation for a sense of lack. So we're going to first call on that with that intention to wash away the fear of what is not power, that gets called power, and align with what is the divine nature of power. And then we're going to bring it into MuqTadir. 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 And we're going to bring that into the heart to purify the ego nature so that as we embrace the power that we have control over and we have choice over and we have responsibility for, that it's purifying that place and bringing us to that desire within each and every one of us that wants to act and use our power for the greater good of all. Okay, so let's just, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of the one most merciful, ever compassionate, we call on these divine forces of power. Yah means oh, it is calling on, it is invoking, and Yah also opens us to be receptive to the vibrations, the frequencies, right? Al means the, Al-Qadr means the power. Yah Qadr means oh, divine power, right? Invoking. Yah Qadr. So we call on that force of Al-Qadr. Yah Qadr. Yah Qadr. Yah Qadr. And we call on Yah MuqTadir. Yah MuqTadir. Yah MuqTadir. So I'm going to read first from Al-Qadr, and this is from Fauzia's book, from Divine Names, the 99 Healing Names of the One Love, from Rosina Fauzia Al-Rawi. And that information will be in the notes of the replay. Al-Qadr, the one who is capable of everything, the powerful. This name shows a quality of our source, the divine, that manifests unlimited capacity and power. Everything in the universe is connected with this power. To discover it means to open one's own capacities and to be given the confidence that everything is possible. Al-Qadr grants courage, confidence, and strength, taking us from passivity into activity and enabling us to feel how divine strength works through us. So take a breath and let's call on the divine name of Al-Qadr. 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 Ya Qadr. And let that, as you speak that name, if you speak it, and if you're not comfortable speaking in a language you don't understand, if they don't understand that language, you're welcome to just use your intention. That's what's really, I feel, most important, is using your intention from the depths of your heart. What is it that your being wants to learn about divine power and the truth of what power is? Ya Qadr. Ya Qadr. And let this vibration, this frequency of Ya Qadr, the divine power, the capability, the capacity, let it move through you. Let it wash any of your beliefs or imprints of what power is that are not true divine power, that which we see in the world and often feel is disgusting, and we don't want to have anything to do with it. Just let all of that be washed from you, and let your being, like your core being, be vibrationally aligned with what true power is, with what true divine power is. Ya Qadr. 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 And let yourself just draw all of your energy into your vertical core and drink that unconditional love and mercy into your heart. Exhale, drop down, land into your pelvic bowl, lean into your center, and let yourself be held in this compassion, that eternal compassion, that womb of compassion, safety, protection, connection, acceptance. And let this divine power, the force of divine power, let it wash through you, cleanse you, and give you clarity around what power is and what it isn't, and of the things that you have perceived as power that aren't divine power, of the divine power of the highest expression of divine power, shall we say. Let that be clarified for you so that your being can make sense of it where it needs to. Ya Qadr. In any places where you have held fear of power that's not real divine power, let's let those be nurtured and let those be held and loved, and let them be washed of the fear. Let this bring safety, comfort, and truth to those places. Ya Qadr. Ya Qadr. Ya Qadr. Just let that permeate your being. wash through your core and bringing your perceptions of divine power to align with your core knowing of what divine power is. There's that Rumi poem that says, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you're the ocean in a drop." Your core light, your core consciousness is really the consciousness of Source that lives and breathes and expresses through your body. And within that drop of ocean that fills your physical space is contained the knowledge of the entire ocean. Everything that the entire ocean is made from is the consciousness, the light of Source, the breath of Source that lives through your body. So let your consciousness, where it meets with your ego nature, just let that ego nature witness the truth at the core of your being. The ocean within your drop. Ya Qadr. 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 Take some breaths with that. And I want to read from MuqTadir, the divine name. It's the one who has power and the one who determines everything. It says, as previously mentioned, Al-MuqTadir completes the divine name Al-Qadr. Those who have integrated this name have no fear when all others are afraid, and they do not get lost either in the material or the spiritual world. Al-MuqTadir has a direct and personal effect on us. It puts us on the path to God and gives us the capacity to pursue it and to accept our individual fate. Step by step, we are guided in order to fulfill our destiny. Lovers take whatever power and capacities the beloved, the Source, has given them, and they use it in the most beautiful of ways. Al-MuqTadir. It also says, the more we drink from this name, right, to really receive the beauty of this name, the smaller our ego, lower self, becomes, the more we are hindered from following its selfish impulses. So the more aligned we become with the non-selfish impulses. When we give or non-selfish guidance, when we give space to our deep being through the divine names Al-Qadr and Al-MuqTadir, the question spontaneously arises, how can I help? How can I contribute? The longing and the accompanying humility lead us to stand up for harmony between individuals and between the people, and to become true peacemakers for humankind. Peacemakers pray and wish happiness and blessings not only for their loved ones, but for all human beings. Examiner and examinee patient and nurse, teacher and student. Through this spiritual attitude, circles of uniting light are born, and God's light becomes visible. So let's call on MuqTadir. And again, that's M-U-Q, MuqTadir, like tada. Tadir, T-A-D-I-R. M-U-Q, Tadir, T-A-D-I-R. MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. And let this really come in and permeate your heart. Let it, where it talked about letting it meet the ego self, the lower nature of the human being, letting it meet that place, letting it wash it, letting it cleanse it, and release us from following the impulses of the lower nature. Ya MuqTadir. 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 And again, let this vibration, you say it inside your own chest, and let it wash that heart, that place in the center of your heart. You know, the name of the heart in Arabic is qalb, which means to turn. And the heart is constantly turning between the inner knowing self and the outer world, which is where we experience the outer world, and that ego nature gets activated and developed, right? So the heart is constantly turning between the inner knowing and inner wisdom, inner intelligence, and the outer experience of the material world, which looks like total separation, right? And sometimes it does, not 100%. But that's where we get conflicted between what is true love, what is right, what is wrong, what is, all of these, what is power, right? So let that place in the heart where the inner meets the outer, where the heart turns between the inner and the outer, and let that be washed. Let it wash away the impulses of the lower ego nature. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. Let it soften and align the heart with the knowledge of the power as it wants to be expressed through you, of the true divine power as it wants to be expressed through you. Ya MuqTadir. And feel yourself. If you feel yourself aligned with that place that says, how can I help? How can I contribute to the greater good for all? Ya MuqTadir. And don't be afraid to be where you're at. Whatever is moving for you, whatever's coming up for you. You might not be in a place to act for the greater good of the entirety of humanity in this moment, and that's okay. You might be in a place of just needing to take care of yourself, needing to take care of your family, of your immediate community, and that is so very important and beautiful. Be where you are. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. Ya MuqTadir. And just breathe with that. Sit with that and breathe with that. Ya Qadr. Ya MuqTadir. Right? The divine power that permeates all things, and then that place where the divine power meets your individuated ego self to be expressed and lived, where you accept responsibility for the divine power as it moves through you and lives through you and expresses through you. Ya Qadr, Ya MuqTadir. Ya Qadr, Ya MuqTadir. Ya Qadr, Ya MuqTadir. Ya Qadr, Ya MuqTadir. Breathe with that. Let them become one. Become one inside of you. I want to read one more paragraph from Fauzia's book. Again, that is Divine Names, the 99 Healing Names of the One Love. And I'm going to read this paragraph, so I invite you to listen to the whole paragraph. As a human being, you have the right to retaliate when you have been treated unfairly. It is human, it should not be judged, and it is understandable on the human level. Yet as we grow and mature, it is our duty to reach that place where we no longer respond in kind, because hate cannot extinguish hate, only love can. Yet when human beings are not far enough on the path to be able to do so, it does not mean that they are bad, and they should not be judged, because we are all in the process of growing and maturing. Let's continue to grow and mature. And I read that because right now we are in a place where there is a lot of shift happening in our world. And there are some people who believe one side of the shift is the way to the best thing for the greater good, and a whole bunch of other people on the other side who believe that the other way is the way to create the change for the greater good. And you may be, let me say it this way, you may be called to speak up and to act for what you believe is in the highest for the greater good. I know I feel called to speak up. And I can honestly say the last thing I want to do is to name call and say, these people are bad, because the people that I've talked to that believe differently from me, they really do believe that what they believe in is for the greater good of all. I believe that what I believe in is for the greater good of all. I don't want to be in a position of creating more separation and division between people, but I do have a strong desire to protect the people that are closest to me that I care for. And I do have a desire to stand up for what I believe is right. And I believe that we are all called, especially when things get really controversial, we're called to look deep inside of ourselves and determine what is it that we align with, that we believe is right. And I always think of it as, like, okay, we're all going to pass away from this body at some point in our lives, and we never know when that's going to be. If I pass away, when I pass away from this body, what do I want to be able to say that I held true to, that I aligned with, that I lived my life for? I want it to align with that breath of spirit that is breathing through me, that is inspiring me, literally inspiring, breathing me. I want to say that yes, I held to that, and that I stood for that with love and compassion and a vision for the greater good for all. So what is that for you? What is that for you? And can you hold it as that which is true and right to the best of your ability and the best of your capacity to know in this moment? Let's take a moment, drop in one more time deep into that heart space, breathe in Ya Qadr, Ya MuqTadir, and just witness the power from within you, and just witness it emerge from your core, the power that desires to live through you, breathe through you, express through you, operate through you in this world in whatever capacity is destined, ordained for you. In whatever capacity is meant to be for you. Ya Qadr, Ya MuqTadir. And just breathe that through your heart and through the core of your body, and allow the divine power, the force of divine power that lives and breathes through you, to emerge from your core. Let it strengthen along your core, and just like that light that reflects rays and lights up a room, let the power concentrate at your vertical core, and the force that emits from it, just invite your cells to take that in. With love and compassion for all. Ya Qadr, Ya MuqTadir. Invite your cells to take that in. Every cell carries consciousness. Let the consciousness within your cells take in the knowledge of the core light within you, so that all of your consciousness is aligned. And when you express power in the world, you express the divine power rather than the place inside that feels the absence of power and overcompensates in a way that comes across as dangerous. And take a deep breath. Inhale, draw all of your energy into your vertical core. Exhale, drop down, land into your pelvic bowl. Lean into your core light. And feel yourself held in love and compassion. Let's take a moment for gratitude. And sit with the gratitude for what you've received, what you've learned, what you've experienced. And I want to also, I'll go ahead and close out this call, and we'll open for Q&A. If you're listening to the recording, you're invited to join us live on Sundays at 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. U.S. Pacific Time. Find information for joining us live at communityforconsciousliving.com. communityforconsciousliving.com. When you're there, sign up to receive the reminders and replays. When you do, you receive 2 free gifts. One is a one-sheet download, the 10 spiritual principles of our human existence, who we are, what we are, why we're here, what this world is about, what this earth journey is about, what the heck's going on, and remembering who we truly are. And the second one is a 15-minute downloadable guided meditation that I hope you will use as a part of your daily practice at least once a day to remind you of the core divine light, unconditional love, and eternal compassion. Again, the truth of who you are at the core of your being. Right. With that, I thank you very much for being here today. I love you very much, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And now I'm opening for Q&A.